I have been getting asked to do this video for quite a while, so we're finally getting into it. Today we're focusing on my nighttime routine, and I'm going to share the two different versions of it. So this is version A, I guess, like night A. So I have like a night A and a night B. Right now I'm using a cleansing balm. I love using these, especially on days where I'm wearing makeup. It just helps melt the makeup away and get it off my face before using my other cleanser. I do double cleanse, especially when I'm wearing makeup, and double cleansing is basically using two forms of a cleanser. The first one is usually a balm for me, and then the second one is my face wash. Right now I'm using this one from Lee, but I also have a few others that I really like. One of my favorites is from Pharmacy. I also love the Elemis cleansing balm. Fenty's is really nice as well. I added some water to help it melts even further and just take everything off my face. One thing about my skin, it is not perfect, but it has come such a long way. I'm very happy about that. My skin was the biggest, like for most of my life, it was literally my only insecurity, my skin. Like my acne was just, I've dealt with acne since 3rd grade, literally. Before moving to the Bronx in 4th grade, I already had acne. That's how I know. And it continued to be part of my life up until 2020. And it was definitely like a struggle to figure out a solution for it. So while I don't have perfect skin, it has definitely come such a long way. I'm now gonna go in with my liquid cleanser, and this is the one that I use from Youth to the People. This is my everyday cleanser. It's very gentle. It does not bother my skin. My skin is also very sensitive. My skin is really sensitive, so I have to be super careful about what I put on it because it will immediately break out. After my cleansing balm, I do go in with this type of cleanser. The other cleanser that I use sometimes is from Tatcha, and it's their rice cleanser. Their rice cleanser, and I use that on days where I feel like I need a little bit of like a exfoliation, like physical exfoliation, but honestly not too often, maybe once a month, maybe if I'm wearing a lot of makeup or something like that, or just I feel like my skin needs some, you know, sometimes you just feel like you need to get in there, you know, so I will use that product on my skin. It is a physical exfoliator, but it's not bad for your skin. We've come such a long way. I am so old that I used to use the Queen, I forget the name, you know, those like terrible scrubs that are so bad for your skin, your face apparently. Yeah, I am that age. I definitely used to use those way back in the day, like when I was probably in middle school. And now I know, I mean, obviously I know better, but it's just crazy how far we've come with skincare. It's just crazy to think that was the norm, to use those products that are so terrible and cause even more issues for your skin. So definitely do not use those really abrasive scrubs on your face. Like I heard you could use them on your feet, but not on your face, because what ends up happening, especially if you have sensitive skin like me, it ends up cutting, like making little cuts into your skin, because your face skin is so delicate. It makes little cuts, and then your skin gets inflamed, and the whole inflammation process starts on your face, which then causes inflammation. You get little bumps, and it's a whole thing. It leaves behind dark marks. So it's just a no, like don't do it. So that was one of the things that I used to do years ago. Obviously I stopped doing that probably over 10 years ago at this point. All right, so I'm gonna rinse my cleanser. I usually rub it in for like 60 seconds, like a minute or so. I'm taking off the cleanser. I'm using a clean paper towel to do this. I will try my best to find and also include pictures from when I was younger with acne, just to show you how young I was with acne, and it just took forever to go away. A lot of times I feel like I watch these skincare videos and I just can't relate, because my skin has never been perfect, and a lot of people, like, not a lot, but many people, their skin, I mean, they break out here and there once a month when they have their cycle, but for the most part their skin is not problematic. Mine is very problematic. So next we're going to use a toner, and the one I'm going to use is from Lee. I always use a toner, but I choose them depending on the night. This one has hyaluronic acid and also aloe vera. Aloe vera is very common for your skin, and hyaluronic acid just helps hydrate. It says acid in there, but it's not like an AHA acid or anything like that. It just adds a ton of hydration. Once this is completely dried, I will use my tretinoin. This is my tretinoin, and I use the 0.05%. I use the 0.05% cream. You can get this from your dermatologist, and I highly recommend you go to a dermatologist to get this, and I use the smallest amount. This is actually quite a bit. Make sure your face is dry. If it's not dry, it will irritate your skin. And I just put it on areas that I break out a ton. I avoid around my eyes. Anywhere that's super sensitive, I avoid, because this stuff is strong. If you use the tretinoin gel, it's even stronger, and then obviously if your percentage is higher, it's also stronger. So the 0.05 in the gel is a lot stronger than the cream, and also the strength would be stronger depending on what it is. I have been going to dermatologists since I was in high school, probably even before that, probably late middle school. Yeah, I was in middle school. I remember when I first got, I want to say it was probably Tazarac, which is another acne medication. I remember my face was like super dry. I remember I had no idea what I was doing. So that's one of the biggest issues I've had with my acne journey and my skin journey, is that I had no idea what I was doing, and I feel like the dermatologists were just not the best because they didn't explain to me, they didn't explain what I was supposed to be doing. So I'm in 8th grade. I'm like what, 13 years old, and I'm prescribed Tazarac. I think that was the first thing I was put on. You know, at nighttime I put my Tazarac on. No moisturizer, no nothing. Go to class the next day, go to school the next day. My face is like dry and like cracking. And I remember like I just kind of made fun of it. Like just kind of like made fun of myself, like self-deprecation jokes about it. But I was definitely embarrassed about it. I didn't understand why it was happening. I did continue to use it, and it really did not work for me. Like I feel like maybe it worked for a little bit, and then it just didn't work anymore. So I did the Tazarac thing, and then eventually I was switched to Differin when it came out. Differin came out when I think I was in high school. I was on Differin for a while, up until towards the end of high school, and honestly, like, it did nothing. The dermatologist at the time switched me back over to Tazarac, but put me on a stronger dosage of it, and I was on Tazarac up until I was pregnant with Clay. That's when I stopped, because you can't be on those medications when you're pregnant. And honestly, all through using those medications, I really did not see a big difference with my skin. I always had acne still. I still had acne. I felt like nothing was working, even though I was on those medications. And I used to get like the full line from the dermatologist. At this point, after the first incident with middle school, my mom started getting the full line at the dermatologist. You know, they would sell you the cleanser, the moisturizer, like the full shebang. So I would have everything from a dermatologist, and it just was not working for me. So I'm not gonna lie, here and there I would try things from the drugstore because what I had was not working. So I would try Neutrogena, Clean and Clear, like all the face washes, all the moisturizers. Like I would try everything. I would try diet, because everybody and their mom is like, you need to drink more water, you need to drink more water. So, you know, I'm over here drowning in water, and it's not helping, because that was not my issue. When I first got into college is when I really got into makeup, and I felt like makeup was a way to just kind of help me with my self-confidence with acne. I've definitely always been into makeup. I've loved like eyeshadows. I used to get the sparkly Urban Decay little gel liners. I used to use those all through high school. But once I got into college, I really was just so self-conscious of my acne. It definitely pushed me into face makeup. As far as like powder or like foundation, concealer, I wasn't really into that until I was probably like 17, 18, and it really started to impact my self-esteem, and that's how I kind of got into that type of makeup. And back then, it was definitely like not cool to wear makeup. Like it was like, oh, you wear makeup because you're ugly type of thing. Like it was not, everybody was not wearing makeup. It was different, y'all. Like it's crazy to see now that it's so normalized and people are so okay with it. Back then, you would be made fun of for wearing makeup. It was kind of crazy. Anyways, once this is dry, I'm going to go in with my moisturizer. So today I'm using this one from Herbivore. It's the Pink Cloud. But lately I've also been using the Charlotte Tilbury one. This one does have a scent. So if you have extra sensitive skin and if you're sensitive to scents, I would definitely test it out first and not just go full on using it. For whatever reason, it doesn't bother me, so I have been enjoying it because it's super thick and I feel like it really just helps moisturize my skin really well overnight. Definitely not for daytime use, only for nighttime. But today I'm going to use the pink cloud because as you can see, it is daytime. And I'm going to be wearing makeup, so I want to make sure that I use something that's not as thick as the Charlotte Tilbury. As you notice, and that's when I use Tretinoin, I do not put anything else on my skin. No AHA, no BHA, nothing else besides the toner. Nothing else goes on my skin. I go straight into moisturizer because that product is very strong. It does all it needs to do for me on its own. It has really transformed my skin. Tretinoin single-handedly transformed my entire face, and I will forever be using it. Like when my tube runs out, I go crazy trying to get my dermatologist to send in a new prescription because I am not gonna live life without it. I was not a candidate for Accutane because my acne was not like the bigger acne. I had like micro, I forget what they call it. So that was not an option, but I did want it when I was in high school. I remember looking up Accutane and I'm like, I need this. I need anything. Back in 2020, I was watching a lot of YouTube and I came across Dr. Dre here on YouTube, and she was talking about Tretinoin and how she was using it, and like everybody in the comments were saying how amazing it was. So I looked it up, and I looked it up initially for anti-aging because that's what they were saying they were using it for. And I realized it was also really good for acne. It just so happened that I had also got confirmation that I had PCOS at that same time. And I realized that my acne was definitely tied to PCOS. And it was an issue with like my cell turnover and oiliness and getting clogged pores because of it. And I realized that Tretinoin may be the thing for me. I went into the dermatologist's office knowing that's what I wanted, but I wanted to hear him out. And that was literally the first thing he recommended. Like, he looked at my skin, he asked me about my history, and he goes, I'm going to give you antibiotics and Tretinoin. I did antibiotics for about a month, and that was to basically help kick everything out my system. So I did 1 month of antibiotics. I used Tretinoin, and my skin, it took me about a year, I want to say. It took a while, so it was definitely a waiting game. It started working within maybe a couple months, but it took about a year for me to really notice the drastic difference. Even today, sometimes I forget like where I came from, and I'll see an old picture and I'll be like, whoa, you've come a long way. 2 things happened when I started Tretinoin. The first thing was I no longer always had a breakout. Like, I always had acne. Like, there was not a day where I didn't have acne. The second thing is it does help with dark marks. So my dark marks have gone down significantly. Like, I had acne scarring for days. Like, most of my face was covered in acne scar. And it has definitely gone down a ton. I still have some right here. You can see on my forehead, I still have some acne scarring, like right here. I also have some right here. You can see that's probably like a more recent breakout. On my cheeks as well, you can see like I have some right here. As you can see, I don't have any current breakouts on my forehead. I do have a few like over here, but I just got over my cycle, so that's probably what that's from. This is nothing compared to what I used to deal with. On the nights when I use Tretinoin, I do take my moisturizer all the way up to under my eye because I don't want to use a different eye cream. I really want to make my routine very simple on those nights. So I use my face moisturizer under my eye just to add some hydration there. If my face is feeling very like dry and just going through it and it needs extra moisture and hydration, I will use a hydrating oil over my moisturizer. This one from pharmacy called Honey Grail is one that I like using. It's an ultra hydrating face oil. I also have one from Indie Lee, and this is a squalane facial oil. It is 100% olive derived squalane. So these are the 2 oils that I will use depending on how my face is feeling. Besides that, I apply my lip balm and I go to bed. And that's my skincare routine for whenever I'm using Tretinoin. When I'm not using Tretinoin, I will do the same exact process, except I will use a different toner depending. Like, if I feel like I need that CoQ10 because my skin is feeling inflamed, I'll still use it. But if not, I have this one from Glow Recipe, which I really like. It's their Watermelon PHA and BHA toner. It's a pore refining toner, or any other toner that I really want to try out that has like AHAs in it. I'll use it on that night. After using toner, I will go in with the serum that has AHAs or BHAs or something like that to just help my skin depending on what my skin needs. And then I'll use a moisturizer of my choice, a face oil, and then I'll use an eye cream. The one I've been using lately I have been using this one from Youth of the People. It's the Peptides Plus C eye cream. Sometimes I'll also use the Topicals Fade Cream. Like I said, tretinoin does help with darkness. It does take a while for you to see a difference with tretinoin, so the faded cream does work a little quicker in helping with dark spots, so I use that as well on nights when I'm not using tretinoin. That is pretty much my skincare routine for nighttime. I like to keep it pretty short and concise. I used to be one of those people who would do like the whole 10-step routine back in like 2016, 2017, and that was definitely not what my skin needed. One of the biggest things with those types of routines is that if you don't know what's wrong with your skin, it's going to be hard to pinpoint what products is actually working and what products are not working. Also, if something causes a reaction, it's hard to tell. So I keep everything very short and sweet, and a lot of the products that I use the same thing over and over again, or I'll use the same type of product but from a different brand. So if something were to happen, I kind of can easily pinpoint which product did it. The biggest and baddest girl in my skincare routine is tretinoin. Like, if you take anything from this video, it is to go to your dermatologist and get some tretinoin. If you have acne that is stubborn, PCOS related, definitely try tretinoin because it could solve all your problems. And if I had used it a lot earlier in life, I honestly would not even have as many dark marks as I do now, because I would have never had those acne flare-ups to begin with. So go to your dermatologist and tell them Jasmine said. I'm just kidding, y'all. So that is it for my nighttime skincare routine. If you want to see my morning skincare routine, comment below and I will do that as well. It is a little different, but it's still catered towards my skin type. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.